So one thing I had checked off and I started working on before I made the first video was the title safe. And this is really important to any sort of graphics presentation that you have, any sort of text. Video is certainly important, but anytime you might see a commercial where you might notice that some of the phone number is cut off at the end. It's because the editor, whoever put the video together, didn't have the title safe options up and available. And so you'll find this in the program monitor if you go into the little wrench here and click into that, and you want to make sure that you have the safe margins. Okay, so what you'll see here, and this doesn't apply to YouTube per se, but this is just always a good option to have, is this is where a majority of your video should be. So if there's anything really important out here, in some cases, in some monitors, it might not show. So certainly the most important video should be within this first box here. And then the second box is your title safe. Okay. And so as you can see, my title safe, my titles are actually in its safe zone. So as you know, if I were to move it out of this safe zone, then it might not be seen. So this is still within reason, but it's really important for you to see what is in title safe. And it might look a little weird on YouTube, but it's just a good practice to get into, to have your titles, the most important stuff visually within not only this, just this video safe, but then this title safe zone. So let's go to our clouds sequence. And anytime you do your, anytime you do any sort of sequence and look at your fonts, you really want to consider what kind of font is appropriate to your project. So I might like a particular font, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's appropriate. And so get used to looking and studying some of the fonts that are available in Premiere, and even just some of the like Canva or Adobe Spark, and get used to some of those, the ones that might be appropriate to particular projects. And if you also notice that this bar is just obnoxious to this, and so certainly this is also outside of title safe. So let's go in and fix this a little bit. So let's make this bar here. So this is our shape 2. Let's change this. And so there's the eyedropper. You probably can't see it very well. Okay, so it's the eyedropper. See where the red, the crimson red, is fill. Let's use our eyedropper and let's pick something that's kind of within these sort of colors, and it's a good practice to maybe choose some things that, oops, where am I? So so you want to make sure that you're finding the appropriate colors that might be appropriate to your project. And then let's move the cloudscape, this whole thing, so it's in title safe. So cloudscape itself needs to move. And then let's change our font. So this is an Arial font. I'm going to double click it, select it, and then let's move it so it might, you want to avoid script fonts like those cursive fonts, anything really obnoxious. I'm sorry, it's just my personal preference. It just looks tacky to have these cursive, like something like this. Ugh. I mean, it might be fine for wedding invitations, but not video production. So So it might be something very simple, maybe something all caps. So you pick your own font there. And so something that will stand out. And then we can adjust the, so there's specific things that you'll want to look at. There is, you can adjust the, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong numbers. Down here at the bottom, you can see that this will adjust the spacing between the letters, okay? And then this leading, if you have separate lines, it's going to make spaces, vertical lines of spaces much more pronounced or much less pronounced, okay? So, and then also you have this one, but we don't have several words. That would be enabled if you have several words, but play around with those, because sometimes if you have several lines of text within one particular text box, you might want to adjust the spacing between the letters and just see how, you know, that might look. All right. So those are pretty important. And so these parameters help you adjust those. And then, so if we want to adjust the, ooh, that looks terrible. That's not what I wanted to do. So if I wanted to adjust the shape, notice that I have also the stroke, and the stroke is kind of like that outline. And so the stroke I might want to get rid of, and that gets rid of that box. Okay. So that's those little basic elements as well. But again, you want to make sure that the font and any sort of graphics that you create within your videos, they all kind of merge together. And of course, this I might want to reduce this a little bit, just so it's not so apparent. That looks a little bit better. Okay, and then you play your video. And of course, I would probably add a drop shadow there as well.